Happy Hump Day, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BETSPERTS. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson, and joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molitor. How's it going? How are things in Minnesota?
I don't know. Common sense has gone out the window, and this isn't even like a COVID thing. There was a winter storm warning, so they said school will be 2 hours late, and then they just canceled school. It has not snowed here. There was no accumulation. It is just windy. Like I think they were just so like stuck on, hey, we're gonna
Teachers
do.
wanted a day off.
Oh yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on. Like I'm like, guys, it didn't snow. Like, oh, so school not 2 hours late? No, that they would never roll that back. So yeah, the kids no school today. Weird. And we thought we were gonna get a storm. Northern Minnesota did get the nasty part of the storm. I was lucky. It's just cold and windy here, but so bit of an odd morning for me. But we had a fun day yesterday. That's why I put Tuesday recap as one of the things I wanted to talk about Tuesday. Like, not only were you good with your Spurs total, which despite the blowout, still got there kind of easily in the long run, and you got the best of the number.
Blowouts are good for overs. You want a blowout if you got an over.
Sometimes the blowout, when it gets too big, like when it was starting to tip on 30 points, it's like, how is this going to go? It's like, are they going to keep? And it did. It was pretty easy in the long run. And then a little good and lucky. The end of game stuff at the end of your other total got us a nice little push. And you're going to have some bad luck too. So I'll take all the good luck we can get.
It's a
Tennis was
miracle.
fantastic. Sabalenka went down. You cashed a plus 350 favorite, and the over won by the hook. So that was a double dip. That was essentially a big old moneymaker. Coco Golf overs are back. I woke up to that beautiful. I didn't even have to look. It
Two
said,
one.
oh, 2-1. I'm like, well, I could click on it. It might be 6060. You never know with Coco. So I did click on it, but nice to win up to a winner there. And then both of my basketball plays won. It was
Easy
a
squeezy. Nice bounce
it was
back
an
day.
easy, nice bounce back day for the squad here. Yeah, it's and then like I said, I was goofing around. I said I'll probably just play like small money on some alt spreads for Kansas State. 14 and a half, never in doubt. That was a bad game to watch. I didn't watch any of the second half. I went to bed on that one. So, the beauty of a day, and we'll be back for more. There's lots going on, and 11 games slate in the NBA tonight. So, you better have something to bet on.
So much going on. I was actually talking with a couple people. I always forget how busy January and February are with basketball, football, tennis, even a little hockey going on. I'm trying to pay attention to here and there. It's just an absolute mess, but it's fun. This is why we do this. This time of year is great. Today, a big NBA slate, as you mentioned. A lot of games that I was kind of close on. Keep an eye on the Atlanta Hawks. If it looks like Trae Young's going to play, jump on that Hawks number. Hawks, minus I think anything 3 or shorter. Once you hear that Trae Young's in, is a great bet. So kind of waiting to hear on that. The Utah Jazz Nuggets under is something I'm looking for, but again, I'm going to see if Rudy Gobert is available there. Again, a bunch of other games here that are kind of fun. Oklahoma City +8 looks like a good bet, but it's if everybody's back from Minnesota, that's a good number there. Instead, though, we do have 3 picks I do like so far. Again, waiting on those. I'll make sure I'll put those in my BetSperts account. So follow me, Alex Christenson, no space there. Of course, I'm sure you already follow Andy, so you can get all of our stuff nice and early. We'll go with the Magic team total under 100.5. They are hosting my Philadelphia 76ers here. Devil's advocate, a little bit of a funky schedule spot for the Sixers, kind of the sleepover spot, as I'm calling it, Andy, the one game road trip, if you will. So sleepover spot for the Sixers here tonight. I don't think Joel Embiid's going to rest, but knock on wood, I'm sure that will likely be announced while we're in here. Either way, if all the Sixers play, I mean, the Magic are going to struggle to get 95 points. If these guys come out, the Sixers have been playing at a much slower pace. They still have some solid defenders. A guy like Tyrese Maxey, who's a really big player in terms of totals, is off the floor tonight. He scores a lot of points, gives up a lot of points. So I think it's just going to be tough for the Magic again to even get to 100 with half of a Sixers team, but it looks like we'll get everybody tonight. Love this under 100.5. The Bucks great spot for the Bucks here. The Toronto Raptors played a couple games at home. And for those of you that remember, Andy pointed this out, there are no fans in Toronto. So they have to come here to Milwaukee. It's a tough rest spot for them. I believe it's a 3-4 and a back-to-back. They have to adjust to fans being on the court, and they've got a full Milwaukee Bucks team here. The Bucks are finally starting to get everybody back again. Still missing Brook Lopez. DiVincenzo looks like he's out, but they've got the big three and just about everybody else. I think the Bucks just lay wood tonight. Just a great spot for them. And then the Houston Rockets plus 7.5. Like this spot here for them. The Washington Wizards getting a lot of respect here for a team that's missing a lot of players. Spencer Dinwiddie makes a huge impact up and down the floor. Bradley Beal, we know, has been kind of struggling with injuries and with his overall health and conditioning. If the Wizards were completely healthy, I have the Wizards maybe 8.5 -9 here, and then we're not even close to that case here. So 7.5 looks like a good number here for me. So a team total, a favorite, and an underdog. Again, with a few things coming maybe later.
Yeah, it is
Is Andy on mute?
just like what? No, I was just taking a deep breath. It's just like every week, every day. Like, no, I mean, what you close with there, with maybe more coming. Like, there are like always 3 or 4 things that, I mean, it's what 11:30 Eastern. There's a lot of things that can happen in the next 5-6 hours, and like Alex alluded to there, follow some of the stuff, especially the Hawks game, maybe even the Minnesota game a little too. You never know, things get wonky, and all of a sudden you can find yourself into a bet there. And yeah, Rico points out college football is finally almost over. Just 2 games. Producer Dan, is currently working on an absolute tome of a FCS championship preview, which will be up on BETSPERTS. We'll probably talk about that. We'll talk about that game later this week. Like I said, last night's game was laughable. I did point out though that the Louisiana crowd was the beneficiary of the Kendall Hinton game when the Broncos didn't have a quarterback. So turnabout's fair play for people on the Bayou that LSU had to start a wide receiver. It wasn't horrible at times, but yeah, Kansas State ran all over them. That was purple on purple crime. Like I said, I got a couple winners last night. Tulsa looked like shit in the first half. I think they only put up 25 points. I like winning, but I like being right about why more, even if some of this is a little narrative-y. And I said, hey, this is a team that turns the ball over a lot and can't hit free throws. And that's not what you need in a big favorite that's going to cover late. And they were up by like 12, 14, 18 points in the second half. And sure enough, in the last 5 minutes, they missed 5 or 6 free throws. They turned the ball over 3 or 4 times. Tulsa hit a couple shots. It was a 1-point game at one point. It was very, very late. They didn't really have a legitimate shot of winning it, but they ended up losing only by 3. So congrats to Tulsa. And if you follow me on BetSperts, you know I played a few games today. I won't spend a bunch of time on any of these because there are 11. I was surprised at myself even. I said, I know there's a bigger schedule today, but a bunch of it got crossed off. So I set my total at over 1.5 games, over under 1.5 games that get canceled out of these 11. But we've knocked on wood. We've had good luck the last couple days with the games being played. Davidson, best 3-point shooting team in the country. I hate backing teams like that sometimes, but at the same time, they aren't 3-point reliant. They're 3-point attempts compared to total field goals. It's not like they're heavy relying on the 3-pointer. They're just very, very good at it. And the offense is a top 50 offense. So Davidson as a favorite, don't play a lot of favorites, but when I do it for a reason. So taking them on the road against St. Joseph's is a 4-point favorite. -4, 4.5 is fine. Houston over with USF, excuse me. Again, I've done this a couple times with Houston. Really, really, really good defense, but at the same time, it's a really good offense. Like this is a top 10 offense. Houston is so good. It's a very fun team. I don't like anything about the Florida offense. I really, really need just Houston to be able to put up 70, maybe 75 to get there, but it's kind of where I have this one modeled. Chattanooga Mox Wofford. And that one was over 120.5 for the podcast crowd. I'll try to say the numbers as I go. Chattanooga Wofford over 135. This is another one where Chattanooga's offense is maybe a little underrated. Same thing with Wofford. I have this. I think both of these teams could easily hit 70 when I start to look at the score distributions Basically, just two offenses that I think are a little underrated according to the market. Furman, the Paladins of Furman, Greenville, South Carolina Paladins, over no, not over, just yeah, over the total with UNC Greensboro, kind of the same thing. Like I like Furman's offense quite a bit. Greensboro's isn't as good, but their defense, what is it? Is it Furman's defense I don't like? Yeah, Furman, good offense, bad defense. I think both teams score quite a few here. I have them both modeled in the high 60s. Massachusetts plus 11. This is a road game down in Richmond. This one's a little dicey, although Mass is another really good offense. And Richmond's just an overall good team. The defense is playing at a high level, but they don't clean the boards very well. They do a couple other things that make me worry about them as a big favorite. So Mass plus 11, Missouri State Bradley. Oh my God, are these both Bears? Bradley Braves, excuse me. Braves
Something
Bears.
like that.
Braves Bears in a cross sports thing. This one is an over one. The only overs so far on my totals. I think I'm about even Steven 50-50s, overs and unders as far as what I play. But another one where I really like the Missouri State offense, and I don't really have. I think the Bradley Braves defensive ranking is a little high right now based on who they've played. I think you see some things like you saw in the last game out where they gave up quite a few points to Indiana State. I have this over. Valpo plus 8 taking on Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa is a team I bet against for years. I don't know why. My numbers always hate them. I think a couple
Trust the
years ago,
numbers.
it was because they were so 3-point reliant. They kind of are. They're top 50 in the league again, as far as in the league in the country, as far as 3-point reliance. Those kind of teams can go cold. We saw that. I bet against them 2 years ago in a conference tournament. I took the field versus Northern Iowa. I remember this is years ago because it was at 5 dimes, RIP Tony, and it was the first tournament outright I cashed that year because they lost in the first round. They went cold from the three and lost outright. So Valparaiso plus 8 here. What can I say about Valparaiso? They're okay. They do a few things good. They don't turn the ball over. I expect them to keep it close here. They make their bunnies, and then the rest of it is just garbage team unders. And boy, my over 1.5 is about to get dicey. Prairie View A&M and Southern is postponed. Damn it, we're down to 10 plays.
Oh,
1.5 is
I
looking like
mean,
yeah.
if you had Andy's picks versus NBA games tonight, you were feeling good about the push. I mean, that's a late
Yeah,
loser.
that is a late loser.
Maybe
God,
you'll find an 11 to sprinkle in. Who knows?
G Web under. Bad offense, good defense for Gardner Webb. Bad everything for Charleston Southern. Charleston Southern, if they scored like 55, 60 points tonight, wouldn't surprise me. I think this number's quite a bit higher than I would have it. So under 147, Gardner Webb, Charleston Southern. And the last three were SWAC unders. We're down to two. With the these are teams I picked on 2 days ago with some unders. Both of them cleared pretty easily. I don't think they adjusted enough yet. There's 5 SWAC games tonight. There's actually only 4 going to be played apparently now. I stayed away again from Mississippi State, and one other one I didn't care for, but these 3 I did like. Pine Bluff under 139, Grambling under 137, and Prairie View is canceled. So just 10, I guess. Thanks, Brett.
What are you gonna do?
It's good to know. Can't go 0-11 now.
Well, that's a positive. That really is a positive. You're right. Way to think about things in a good light. But I love it. I love when you have all the stinking plays. It gives me something to sort of follow throughout the day. There's all these little things popping up. Sometimes there's like random money in one of my accounts. I'm like, what's this? Oh, Andy's basketball. This is fun.
It is fun. It's like I said. I woke up to some Coco money.
It's a shame. We should have sprinkled the over 2.5 sets. Shame on me. Apologies for that. But you know what? She's did get knocked off. That is the other problematic part. Ashley Barty kind of took care of business. But it's good to see that Coco Gauff is still out there doing her thing. I actually think it's going to be a great season for her. It's curious to see. Like she's finally kind of at the age where we might see a nice sharp ascent from Miss Gauff. But it was a pretty solid night of tennis last night. We'll try to continue to build on that. Fewer plays today. Not so much volume as I looked around. again, we've got 3 tournaments going on, but just kind of some funky matches here. One that's not up here, kudos to us. If you grabbed Dana Samova yesterday at like minus 120, that's ticked out all the way to like minus 140, minus 145. Just about, probably maybe still a little bit of value there. Again, I think I said yesterday minus 135 or so is about where I draw the line. I kind of don't hate 140, but we did better yesterday. We'll kind of keep it there. If you don't have it, that's still fine. Maybe use her in DFS or something like that. But Adelaide, we've got a parlay here. Iga Swiatek, and this is a match I've thought about quite a bit. I'm sorry, Swiatek. I was just trying to get better at saying the name. My buddy Zane is going to be giving me crap about it. But really like Iga. She's one of the best, if not best, players on tour. She's playing Leila Annie Fernandez, who you might remember finished second at the U.S. Open last year. And boy, oh boy, do the book seem to really like her in a match where I could make a case that Iga should be minus 250. I'm looking at a minus 174. And instead of playing that straight up, there's another match I like. We've got a Rybakina outright here, but she's only in the minus 150 range against Shelby Rogers. The American played some nice tennis, got a couple wins under her belt, has done well here, but not even close to as well as Rybakina has done. She's just the much better player. So we'll put the two together. Plus 160 looks really nice to me for those two. Again, at my prices, that would be closer to kind of even money. So plus 160 looks great to me. 2 underdogs in Melbourne, 1. Quinn Yen Zhang, again, just in case. There is only 1 Zhang left in Melbourne 1, so don't have to be too careful there. Plus 115, again, a young player. I think I'm going to be backing quite a bit based on the way she's been priced to start this season. She plays Vera Zvonareva, someone that I do really like, but generally on indoor courts, she's much better. Zvonareva, a pretty solid player. I have this closer to a pick 'em, basically. So anything plus 110 or better on Zhang looks good enough for me. Anna Konyu plays Kaya Kanepi. This is kind of a nice spot here, Andy, because it's not only a price I like, we get a chance to fade that Canadian guy that's so fun to fade all the time. Konyu, a great player, knocked off one of our outrights, unfortunately, Martin Sova there in the first round. But, let's get a little bit of that money back here. Just a great spot for her against Kanepi. She's the better player. Again, I have this close to like minus 160. So some nice value in Konyu out to minus 140, minus 145.
I like it. Yeah, I was just looking. It looks like, Kanepi money line, 2 units. Ben, what are we doing?
Ooh, minus 120 at Bet Online. Very nice.
It's been a rough January for Ben. He might have a bounce back in him. Hopefully, it's in player props because I don't
Can't
play
lose
those.
them all.
You can't. Well, I've seen it. I've seen a guy. I've seen a different guy go 0-12 on college basketball one day. That was. I mean, it's just as likely as going 12-0 if you're flipping coins, I guess. But golf starts this week. I don't have anything yet. I haven't had a ton of time this week. I don't like this tournament. I don't. It's already too late for me to really get heavily involved. I'm going to look at matchups this afternoon. I've got back-to-back meetings after this. And then I've got stuff this afternoon. And then I got to eat some lunch. So I'm going to find some time. It'll be this afternoon sometime. But the nice part about this is it's in Hawaii. This tournament doesn't start until God knows when in the morning, like noon tomorrow, man. So if you haven't bet this, if you want to get a couple late DGen bets in, you've got time tonight. You've got time tomorrow for sure. And yeah, well, Ben, I have the deep dive tonight. We can talk golf at the end there. If there's like 6 games that we really don't want to talk about for football, there's some absolute dead rubbers this week. It's a bad week 18, but the Sentry Tournament of Champions at Kapalua Plantation course. Fun fact, I played the course next to this, the Kapalua Bay course, and shot like 120. And this is the tougher of the 2 courses, where the pros will probably shoot about minus 25. So I'm a long way from being on tour, but someday, Alex. Decent prize fund here for a small field. This is technically, and it is this year, they're going by the definition. It is the Tournament of Champions. If you won a tournament last year, you're in this tournament. That's why there's only like 39 people in it. You have to win a tournament to be in this tournament. The year before, they just didn't play enough golf tournaments. So they ended up, saying, well, we didn't have enough champions last year because we canceled half the events. So they just filled out the field with, like people from the top 30. And well, I mean, it's like, oh, should we have it with like 16 guys or do we want? So they ended up filling out the field with players from the top 30. Yeah, I would have enjoyed that. And it's funny, one of those guys ended up winning, Harris English. He ended up winning. He did win another tournament later in the year. So he is in he is in the field of his own volition this year. And yeah, if it's not windy, these I've made this comparison a few times. These fairways are so wide. And the next, the first cut of rough, it's kind of like a fairway that hasn't gotten mowed for 2 days. It's going to be pathetically easy if there's no wind. If the wind keeps down, I mean, these are a bunch of top end players. I mean, somebody might just destroy this course one day. We're on 60 watch for sure.
Are you looking
Which
at
would be
round
great. It's
unders
par
maybe?
73. I don't know. I'm gonna play some guys that can go scorched earth. They can hit your old birdie streaks. Yeah, the three
Is there like
mile an hour
alt
gusts.
underscores? Can I bet like somebody shoot 68 or something like that? Like, is that a thing?
I wonder about that with some of the stuff that like DK offers on a daily
Right.
basis. I'm
Yeah, or
probably gonna look
FanDuel
at
might be
props.
silly enough to let us do that. I have a project.
And somebody did point out, like, you can do all the modeling in the world on golf and you can figure out everything. It's still a market. Like, and if you're betting into it this late, take it easy. Like, getting the best of the numbers still matters in this stuff. So that's half the reason I'm probably taking it pretty easy. I'll have some small bets. I'll put out a little bit of a blog later on the app on the website. And for now, just just chilling. Next week, one and done start. For the most part, I'll be getting involved in that. And yeah, and it's supposed to be pretty wet the next 4 days. The thing about Hawaii is it
Ooh, that
rains
helps too.
every single day. 365 days a year it rains. It's weird. It's like a nice kiss from the gods though. It's just like always misting. And for some reason you can't see a cloud in the sky and it's raining somehow. It's
That
magic, I think.
that helps with the scoring too. I mean, if it's wet and there's no rough, I mean, they're just going to be throwing darts at pins. I mean, there's going to be a lot of short putts if
Yeah,
that's the case.
if the greens are soft, wet, and receptive, and there's no wind, and you got some of the best irons players in the world playing off the carpet constantly, like yeah, look, and the greens are the size of a small ranch in Montana, like so easily hittable. So, and fun fact here before we go, I do have an inside source this week. I know someone who's going to be holding up one of the hush cards. So we'll see if we can get any
I
inside
would love to
info
do that.
as the tournament goes on. I would not love to go to Hawaii and then work. You know what
Well,
that is in the end because one time I went to Hawaii and my wife talked me into going up to the top of the volcano in the morning and it's like 14 degrees up there. I said I did not come to Hawaii to put a jacket on. This is ridiculous. And
I think
I,
I just
I would
get
not go to
really
Hawaii to
passive
work.
aggressive with the paddle, turn and look at certain people. I'd
Oh,
really
I
take
would
that
glare.
authority.
I would glare at
I
people.
think you and I would have a lot of fun doing that.
I would probably work a golf tournament. It would be I should volunteer for 3M next year. Maybe I get in free. So like, subscribe, rate, review, retweet, thanks, thumbs up, share with your friends, comment if you have a comment, hit me on Twitter if not, follow us on BetSperts, download the app, and check you tomorrow.